Okay, Sharice, we have
Yes.
got to, because Nightcap is about to go syndicated. You don't know it yet, but we're working some syndication stuff. So,
It is.
so first of all, we got to start out with like a theme song. So, da 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 da. There we got dancing. Okay, fine, forget it. Okay, Nightcap, yo, what's going on?
Welcome, y'all.
Welcome. Like the old saint said in the old Baptist church, which Reverend Parker said has died. Welcome once, welcome twice, welcome three times in the name of Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
How about that? Jesus Christ. We are excited. Listen. We have to laugh because we are in the midst of it's called election season under Donald Trump. It is
My Lord.
I, right?
Help,
so everybody invite, share, all that, because I think tonight's going to be amazing because we're talking about voting and millennials, right? So first of all, Sharice, how are you? How you doing?
I am great. I had a busy day, but for the most part, I'm doing really good today. I feel good. How about you?
Well, you look great. Well, hey, I'm 56. I'm up at 9:30 doing a show called Nightcap, which makes people think I'm an alcoholic, but I'm not.
You look like you're losing weight.
I appreciate that. It's the shirt. Stripes always make me look like I'm losing weight. So
we can't do the stripes, so that can't be it.
Yeah, well, you know what? First of all, you're a guest, so we're getting to you right now, ma'am.
You tried it. You tried it. Really
oh my God!
I know I'm going to hear this in the words of the saints at the funeral. I'm going to hear this at a later date.
Definitely.
So, first of all, everybody, we have two amazing guests. One will be with us until about another 20 minutes, so we need to jump right into this. Introduce yourselves and tell us who you are. I see the third guest has jumped in. He's always in a car. Second time we've had him on Nightcap and had him on something. Oh my God! So we're gonna start with our amazing Reverend Brianna Parker. Just kind of tell us who you are, what you're doing, and then we'll go to the other two gentlemen real quick because we got to get right into the conversation.
Yeah, so I'm Brianna Parker. I run the Black Millennial Cafe, which is a consulting and data resource firm right now in the middle of election season. And because of so much social injustice, we run a number of polls, data research on things that can impact either social justice in a positive way and try to combat social injustice, or to try to see what we can do to make sure people are at the polls and voting in election season. So I personally am a data activist, but I run the BMC, and so we do data activism as a company as well.
First time you ever said that to me, that blew me away. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, that sounds like it's a lot.
That's serious.
Good way or bad way?
No, in a great way, because I think that is a reinvention of this whole idea of polling and just kind of taking it to another level. So let's just stay with you then. Let's stay with you, and then we'll get to the gentleman in a moment. 20 years from now, when you are 31, how are you going to describe? I know I gave you a compliment, right? How are you going to describe?
Go ahead.
In 20 years, and this question is coming to everybody. In 20 years, how are you going to describe this election to someone? This election season.
Well, the season a hot, funky mess. Just the worst of America's history, recent history. It will be America's most embarrassing moment. It is going to be, it's a toddler season. We have a child in place. And so it's going to be America's greatest embarrassment. And I'm praying that it'll also be our greatest victory, where we can tell people that, after so many decades of so many struggles, we have a victory, not just because Biden wins, but because we'll have the Senate and the House, and we'll be able to move things forward in ways that Obama couldn't do in 8 years because he did not have that support, and in ways that Trump never wanted to do. And so I can't wait to tell the story of how we made it over, because that's what it feels like in this moment.
What do you believe is what do you believe is driving this polarization? What do you believe is driving what you call a hot funky mess? What's driving it?
Evil and racism. No, all the isms. Racism is really. I mean, it's always existed. It didn't go anywhere, but people's comfortability, around showing it and expressing it and showing pride in it is much greater. The other ism, sexism. You know what I mean? Where you can have people talk so. I mean, that man's mouth is vulgar. And then you can say, on the other hand, right before election, please, women, vote for me. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So you have all those isms. I mean, ageism. If you remember when they said that older people should pretty much be willing to die in a pandemic so that we could get this over with and kind of bounce back from it. So all the isms are present. They're not new, but they are showing themselves again in new, large, robust ways. So, I mean, I think that's what we're seeing right now.
Wow.
One more question for you, and then we'll go to Ciatis. What do you think we need as a country to do to recover and rebound from this? Huh?
Other than repent.
Well, I mean,
I don't mean like, God, if there's anything we did that did not please you, I don't mean that kind of repentance. I mean, God, I have been evil. I have kept food out of the mouths of the hungry. I have stopped people from getting an education so that they could change their community and their families. I have been racist. I have tried to keep communities from progressing. I have been sexist. And I have made women think their bodies were the ladders to, success. I have attempted to control women's bodies. I have tried to make modern day slaves out of Black people. I mean, real repentance, like call the road, go to the morning bench. Like, we got to do that. We got to do that. I mean, that's what we see. Usually when people try to use the scripture, if my people who are called by my name, that's for the sins that we don't like, like the sins that anybody will want to say, oh, it's bad. Oh, that's adultery. Oh, that's fornication. Those kind of things. No. I'm talking about the things that are the things that you can't always touch. You can't always definitely put your finger on. When you said people were racist 10 years ago, people were like, he not racist, or you don't know that. Those kind of sins. The sins that you don't say at the dinner table always, but you go to your job and you make sure they're alive, well, and active. Those types of things.
Wow. Ciatis, thank you, man, for being here. Who are you? What do you do? What are you doing right now?
So Ciatis Jackson, I'm the Chief Program and Operating Officer for the First Coast Leadership Foundation and the My Vote Project. I am currently running the operations for our organization, which we are running operations in 13 counties, getting people out to the polls, handling vote by mail requests, and also dealing with a lot of election protection issues. And then personally, I'm consulting a few campaigns here in Duval County.
What do you see? You're out here every day fighting this battle, trying to get people to the polls, but also trying to protect the vote and trying to make sure that there is equity, treatment in terms of this process. What do you see personally?
I see a lot. There's a lot. One, this whole election process has a lot on the fact that already prior to the election, before early vote, and the FBI came out and said, hey, the Russians have hacked the voter files. That's one of the things I look at. And then two, I look at the president's complaint already to say that all individuals in the state of Florida who received their right to vote back because they're returning citizens, that we should check them post the election. That's a second thing I look at. And then three is just a lot of voter suppression. People are groups and candidates, they're doing anything they can to suppress the vote. So, I see all of that, but also see that, from a lens of a different perspective. People always ask me, well, who's on the ballot? And I say, it's not who's on the ballot, it's what is on the ballot. Education is on the ballot, criminal justice is on the ballot, the handling of a pandemic is on the ballot. And as I begin to exit poll folks on the first day of early vote, and a lot of folks that don't look like me, it's amazing about they're voting against the candidate, but it's because it's personal. They lost somebody in a personal aspect. So, that's one of the things that I found interesting. But if that's what makes them different, I think that is what makes it what it is. If they're gonna vote for Joe Biden because of their family passed away, I think that's something that's significant.
Brianna, let me come back to you. Siada's mentioned voter suppression in your data activist posture. What do you see in terms of this idea of voter suppression? What are you hearing out there in terms of that?
Oh, I mean, it's real. I mean, they've done like dramatic things these days, like put up fake ballot boxes. I mean, that's just sickening. But I mean, there are just acts of intimidation. And we haven't even seen the worst of it, because we remember the dog whistle that said, maybe you should go to those election polls and just make sure, pretty much like keep law and order, when he trying to tell his people to come to the hood, and like keep law and order at our election polls. So, sometimes it's intimidation. They can also purge you from the voter registration roll. And so that was one thing we really pushed heavily. Make sure you're registered. I know you voted before. I know you registered before, but make sure, you're still on the roll, because they're purging people. There are just so many things they're doing. In Russia, they have bot farms where it looks like a call center, and people just sit up there and make fake pages as Black people, and they go on the shade room and they stay in the comments on Facebook to try to convince you, that the man is messing you up, or that you need to think about this again, and Trump has done so much for the Blacks, so all that stuff that they have going on, it's ridiculous. But I mean, to a certain extent it works. Don't forget, they have 4 years to really improve their tactics. And so some of the things that they have done and whatever they're planning for election day, we probably won't even know until after it's over. Remember, they blamed the election on millennials the last time. They said, y'all didn't vote, it's your fault. And, it was all resting upon us. Like, oh, Lord, we done lost the election. And then the truth is that was never true. It was Russia. And so, I'm still waiting for our apology.
Well, we want to say, as the older people of Americas,
yes,
y'all the reason that Donald Trump is in the White House. Okay, so
I say, wait, a millennial, that if you look at history will say we should have progressed more. So
I understand. So both of you have mentioned voter suppression. So I want to invite in Attorney Porter, who is at work right now with the National Bar Association. So, man, just kind of tell us who you are and man, what you got going on. I know a lot of times you just moving around. So we finally got you settled in. So first of all, he's my frat brother, which makes him a man of God. So second of all,
what it make him?
A man of God. So second of all, he's a phenomenal attorney. He's doing some amazing things around the country. So just kind of talk to us, man, about who you are, man, and what you're a part of, and how that fits into the conversation so far. Okay, mute yourself. Unmute yourself. I promise you I'm gonna get a shirt that says unmute yourself.
There you go. There you go. So again, thank you, Pastor Guns, my good Kappa brother, Phi Nu Pi. You know how we do it. Thank you for having me on today. Again, my name is Marwan Porter. I am an attorney. I'm the managing partner of the Porter Law Firm. The firm has been in existence for about 50 years now. I also run several Cochran firms throughout the country. As Pastor Guns mentioned, I am the chair of the small firm division of the National Bar Association, which is an organization that's been in existence since 1925, what predominantly is made up of Black lawyers throughout the country. It was brought into existence when Black lawyers were not allowed to participate in the American Bar Association. And so that's a little bit of my background. I practice large personal injury cases where people get hurt or discriminated against, police misconduct, sexual harassment, employment discrimination, and mass torts when there's a product on the market, that hurts thousands of people. One that I'm focusing on right now is the Johnson & Johnson baby powder, which is a product that gives many women in our communities ovarian cancer. And so, how do what I do and where I am at this stage of my life fit into this conversation? Well, law for me is a means to an end. My true passion is economic development within our communities. And I think that what you're seeing with this presidency and this administration is systemic racism at its best. It is a very, very clear indicator, as has been mentioned before, that nothing or not much has changed from the times we were enslaved and kidnapped and brought over to this country until now. The policies and philosophy of President Trump has one objective, and that objective is to maintain the status quo, which is a system that serves to help the white majority, and a system that serves to hurt and cause suffering to the Black minority. And more importantly, he represents, and his philosophies represent, a panic of self-preservation. The world is becoming, a lot more blended, a lot more brown, and power is being alleviated, little by little. And so I think that there are a lot of policies, procedures, the judges, the federal judges that he has put in office that have conservative views, is all being done by design. This is not happening.
Marwan, hold on for a second, because I think you said like 8 incredibly important things, right? No, seriously. Yeah. I think you said 8 incredibly important things. I want you to kind of go back to this whole idea about the judges and why that's important, especially in your field. What do you see with the fact that the Supreme Court is now 6-3 in terms of conservative judges?
It's a problem. We are, a country of laws, and the laws dictate policies, and the policies dictate a system that we live under, which is the systemic racism that we all see, or we all feel, and we see it. We don't necessarily know how it's happening, but we understand that we're getting the short end of the stick. Well, it happens via judges in office enacting legislation and laws that we have to live under. It's police brutality, and a lot of the nonsense that we have to deal with these officers not being prosecuted is because the laws that are in place protect them. And
stop right there. Stop right there. And because Brianna's gonna have to leave, I want her to jump in because I want you to hold. Listen, man, you've said some stuff. I want you to hold where you are, because okay. I think that a part, Brianna, I'm trying to get everything I can get out of you before you have to go. We understand what in listening to that, and as someone who is a data activist, how have you been able to educate us on that kind of, that right there? The fact that I think that it's interesting. Everybody is all angry or hyped up about who's the president of the United States and who's the senator. But what we just saw in the last 72 hours in the last 4 years was a systematic, and I don't use the word lucky, but how did Donald Trump get 3 judges, 3 justices under his administration? And how much has that changed? And as you go around the country talking to people, are we really catching that? Are we really understanding that? I don't know if that's a question or not, but Sharice, I'm going to turn this over to you, but I'm having fun tonight. Go ahead.
I honestly don't think it was a big deal into the moment. Well, first of all, we lost Ruth Bader Ginsburg, so,
right.
So that first of all was a huge blow. God rest her soul. She really did hold on for us. Like, I'm convinced she was really bouncing back for the sake of America. She probably did more for us than that president we got. So I'm thinking it became an issue when we lost Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And then I also think it was an issue because we knew the first thing this go around was Roe versus Wade. I think when there's not an issue and people feel like they're fighting for, sometimes they ignore it. Or if there's not an issue that they know impacts us, because remember, of all the things that we know Roe versus Wade will impact, it's also going to increase the death of women because they're going to ingest poison to try to get rid of a baby or, use, certain. So I think that was something that really, because that was what they came out as soon as Amy was mentioned. I think that was important. What I don't think we're listening to, that I always try to highlight, Supreme Court, an uneven Supreme Court right now is going to could impact us for decades. 4 decades, it could impact us. And so I think that's what we need to hang our hat on, not just certain issues that we know are going to come up, because when they were planning this, they also had to have an issue that was coming up through the ranks and headed to the Supreme Court, so that by the time they got to the point where it was going to be their Supreme Court, they would have a case that was coming up for them to be able to change certain laws. We forget that. We're much less strategic. I mean, we as in liberals too. And so it's not just that they have someone, it's that they've been working strategically for many years to make sure that they were going to get what they wanted. And don't think that all is lost, because you don't have to sit with this number of Supreme Court justices. If Trump does not, I don't know. I was going to say if he wins, I guess he could add them just like we could. So this could be very scary. But if Trump loses, we can balance it out a little bit by adding more seats. I mean, it's so much up right now. And I don't think you can really help people to understand. I mean, it's like when it comes to politics, it's one thing at a time. Hey, it's important to vote for president. Hey, it's important to vote for more than just president. Hey, we could lose the Supreme Court and this could turn back. I mean, really, education, Voting Rights Act, so many things can be overturned. And so unfortunately, we can't run fast when it comes to politics and communities. We almost have to tackle it one issue. I know people don't want to believe that. And I don't mean issue like healthcare, abortion. I mean issue like we got to vote for president. Now we have to vote for, local offices. Now we need to make sure we can protect the Supreme Court. Oh, did you know this is up for grabs? So I think this go around this term, we're afraid and we're learning so much. I remember when Donald Trump was first elected, people kept saying, the president can only do so much. He can only do so much damage. People didn't imagine this.
We learned the hard way.
Yeah.
We learned the hard way. We know you got to jump off. So, first of all, I want to say thank you. And your check is in the mail. Oh, the mail takes a long time.
Trump is trying to impact USPS, so I might be inclined to believe that. The United States Postal Services.
Listen, I mailed something to myself, and it took 8 days to get to the house. I mailed it up. So yeah, but listen, thank you so much. We got to do some other stuff, before this year is out. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
See y'all soon.
All right, take care. So, Attorney Porter, let's get back to you, because I think that you've opened up the floodgates, and then Seatis, I want you to kind of jump in as well, because interestingly enough, I think that this idea of voting is so much about everybody's caught up. I hate the way I'm gonna use this word, but everybody's caught up in kind of the awkward sexiness of this election. I mean, the election, it ain't not sexy in that way, but everybody's kind of infatuated with this election. And so, Sharice, as we're looking at this, Attorney Porter, what you raised this issue of America being a country or a nation of laws. What, looking at the Supreme Court, looking at some of the cases coming down the pike, why is voting so important connected to that? And why do people engage in voter suppression?
Yeah, so voting and being involved in the political process is important because it is the way that we manifest real power. And I think that, another thing we fall short on is being educated about the political process, really having formal education on, what the political process is about, how it's worked, and how it's designed in order to keep you down or keep you up. And so the voting is very important. And going back to your question, regarding the Supreme Court seat and how they were able, to get, some more seats when Obama, was in office. He had the opportunity to recommend some justices to fill the seats, and the Senate blocked it. Okay, because the Senate has to confirm, or approve the recommendation. So when Barack was in office, he recommended several judges, several federal judges, and also a Supreme Court justice, and the Senate blocked it. So and so the reason why Trump was able to do it was because they control the Senate. So it's not just, the presidency, but it's all of your elected officials that ultimately have the ability to bring to fruition policymaking. So, so the president, although he has a lot of power, the power a lot of times falls within local politics. And so, if for some reason, and the reason why the Republicans are getting a little, concerned about, stacking, the Supreme Court is because it looks like we have a good chance to gain control of the Senate. If we gain control over the Senate, we will have the ability to, stack the Supreme Court, and then they'll have a problem. So the voting allows you to do its maneuvering, and if you really get into the Jedi and the chess playing, then it really becomes enjoyable, because you're really moving pieces in order to achieve a certain objective. So when we say that this is all being done by design, it's being done by design in order to keep the minority, Black people mainly, a lot of low class whites as well, in their place, and the master class in its place. That's all it's about, the almighty dollar. So voter suppression is a way they achieve that. Okay, voter suppression, just to give you an example, I was reading something where, like in Texas, there is like one polling or place to vote for a county that has thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and there's only one place. The governor, the way they effectuated voting suppression, say, okay, we're going to have one polling center per county. All right, so you have one polling center where there's 40,000 people, and then you have another polling center in some rural, backwards, conservative town where there's 700 people in the town, and they all live in the same house, and they're all related to each other, and they all go to one polling center. And so, that is one way of voting suppression, making it difficult for you to go out there and to achieve your vote. So all of this is being done by design, and it's definitely being done right now because I believe that, the majority, they are scared at this particular juncture because our country is becoming more black and brown.
So,
And
so let's jump. Hold your thought right there, because I keep telling my wife he's a preacher, and I just need him to go and accept his call. I'll give you a license when the pandemic is over. No, no, because seriously, man, you say so much until it's difficult to digest it. Sharice, I'm gonna turn over to you to just kind of dialogue with Tiana, because I think our attorney has just kind of took us down an amazing path. Sharice.
So Ciatis, I wanted to talk about the amendment. Bree kind of hit on it, how we have to tackle one thing at a time, the candidate, and then, oh wait, the local vote. Oh wait, there's more to vote for. And while choosing the candidates are essential in terms of our next president, the amendments are oftentimes overlooked, and most of the time people go to the polls and are not really sure what the amendments even mean. If I vote yes, what does that mean? If I vote no, what does that mean? Can you tell us about the importance of that? And then I have another question for you about the mail-in ballot.
Yeah, so right now we have several amendments on the ballot. And so we have this process that allows us to change the Florida Constitution by way of an amendment process or amendment referendum. And currently there are, I think, 6 on the ballot, Florida state constitution amendments on the ballot. And I can just kind of briefly go through. And one of them is Amendment 1, which it doesn't change the verb. It doesn't make a change to voter registration immediately, but it's a political issue. It's an issue that came up the last time. It's an issue that would knock out immigrants that have like temporary passes or something. So that's why, a no vote would change the wording in the voter registration process. A yes vote would no, a no vote wouldn't change it. A yes vote would change it. Amendment 2 is the minimum wage. Making a minimum wage $15 an hour by 2026. Amendment 3 is closed primaries. That has something to do with whether you're Democrat, Republican, whether you want Democrats and Republicans to have an open race in the primaries. So, that'll knock a lot of candidates that represent communities or should represent communities like us or look like us. That'll knock a lot of them out if we open the primaries. Amendment 4 is one that I'm personally working on. This is my second time around working Amendment 4. It is where they're asking people to vote twice on a constitutional amendment. Instead of you going to once, you got to vote twice, and they want to make sure that pretty much you didn't change your mind. So that's a crazy amendment. Amendment 5 kind of just gives them more time for a homestead exemption. No, sorry. Amendment 5 transfer the duties if someone passes away, or like the veteran benefits, it transfers those benefits to the spouse. And then Amendment 6 is the homestead exemption. But in addition to the Florida Constitution benefits, here in Duval, we have a couple amendments that are on the ballot too. We have the JEA. Rather, the city council will then have the right to appoint some JEA members, which is crucial because right now the mayor has all the authority to appoint all of the members of JEA. And then the most important one to me is the amendment for schools. Our schools we have the 6th oldest schools in the nation, buildings. So we need to upgrade. It's time, parents always say, oh, my kids ain't learning nothing, because we don't have the infrastructure to add new technology into these buildings. So, that's one that I'm supporting, my organization is supporting. So that's a pretty crucial amendment, and it's local. So it affects us. It affects our everyday. It affects the future of our kids and what they learn in school.
Wow. So I wanna switch over to the mail-in ballots, but somebody asked a question, and I think we could talk about it, but I think the people don't have the know-how of how to research and what they're looking for. Oftentimes people go to the ballot, they only vote for the president, and everything else oftentimes get left blank. One of the questions that one of the young ladies asked is, outside of the presidential candidates, there are other candidates, as we talked about, judges, that can impact us, but people are not aware how to go and find out which other candidates outside of the presidential candidates are going to be on those ballots. So we're talking about the Supreme Court. We're talking about judges. We're talking about schools. Even when I voted, it was something about the water or school conservation or water conservation or surrounding the schools. And so it was a lot. And so how I know the sample ballot comes to help prepare you, but before the sample ballot gets to you, how are we to research that to find out more about the candidate prior to the sample ballot?
So the sample ballot is just a sheet of paper that tells you who's running. That's it. Prior to that, you can go to the local supervisor of elections website and find out every candidate, every issue that's on the ballot. Then from there, you can click on that candidate and then go to their website and then learn about their platforms. And then, if it aligns with your values, then hey, you may want to vote for that person. But and if it's not on there, then you may not want to vote for that person because they're either hiding something or they have the lack of knowledge to be politically savvy enough to know, hey, let me put my platform on my website. So that's normally, how people should make a decision is first go research them, but two, see if their values align with the values that person, that voter aligns with. Like again, they can research Google like they Google anything else. Google will teach you everything. Some candidates will even answer the phone nowadays, so you can call the candidate.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I know the candidates. If you can't reach the candidate, then I don't think they should be in office. If you can't reach them during the election season, they probably shouldn't be in office. Presidential, it's a little bit different, but local candidates, they should be those individuals you can touch.
Wow.
Let me,
I
let,
wanted.
let-
Oh,
Go ahead, Sharice. Go ahead.
so
Because it's
I
opening up.
wanted. Yes. I want to kind of switch and then come back to that because we were talking about voter suppression, right? I want to talk about the mail-in ballot. All right, there's a lot of controversy surrounding that. A lot of people say I'm not mailing in anything. I'm going to the polls, and then you have people that are fearful to go to the polls because of COVID. Ways that voter suppression is taking place outside of minimizing polls is that they have people in place and networks in place in the mail system that's hindering ballots from getting where they need to be so that votes can be counted accurately. What are your recommendations, or what do you guys think? Even Attorney Porter, you can speak to this as well. What recommendations do you have for individuals that may are not sure whether to mail the ballot in or go to the polls, not sure if the vote is going to be counted? What are you guys' stance on that? What are your recommendations?
Yeah, so let me say this very clear. If you have a ballot out right now, do not turn it in. Hold your ballot. Do not put it in the mail. Do not put it in the mail right now because the ballot must be in the elections office by 7 p.m. on next Tuesday, November the 3rd. It's not postmarked. It cannot have any of that. It must be in their office by 7 p.m. So realistically, it has to be in the office Monday because if the person, the little lady who eats donuts all day, decides she doesn't want to go up and get the mail, she does not have to, right? So it's better that you go one at this point. If you still have a ballot out, you can drop it off at an early voting precinct that has a drop box, or you can go to the supervisor of elections office and hand it to them, and you can get a receipt. So you get a receipt. But the third option is if you already mailed your ballot and you want to know has your ballot been counted, you can go online and they'll let you know, one, if your ballot was received, and two, was it counted. And that's important because a lot of ballots are received, but a lot of ballots aren't counted. It's not counted for millions of reasons. The signature, the date. If the tape on the back of that envelope was partially pinched, your ballot isn't counted. So there's so many reasons. Right now, if you guys look in the news, the canvas board, and these are the individuals that go through all of those discretionary items and issues that with the ballots, they are having so many issues with that board because people's ballots are being thrown out and it's not a lot of transparency around it. So people should go to DuvalElections.com or call 630-1414 to see if their ballot has actually been counted, if they turned in. If it's not turned in, take it to a local early voting site, and you can turn it in there, or you can go to the supervisor of elections office and submit it there.
Attorney Porter, that you I mean, you're kind of in the middle of this fight right now. Talk about, I mean, because I think that Sharice has tapped into something. Talk about voter suppression and what you guys are attempting to do right now.
Well, so as a part of the National Bar Association, a committee was formed for voter protection, and the current president of the National Bar Association, President C.K. Hoffler, has deployed thousands of Black lawyers throughout the country to attend the polling centers and to protect people who are there on that particular day. We've also put out a lot of public service announcements, attempting to educate and prepare individuals to vote, on the 3rd. And Cialis, he just nailed it. Those are all the recommendations that we had, and we set out for the community pre the actual voting day to try to get there early. Drop your votes off. All of those were great recommendations. Cialis just hit it. But on the date of election, just being prepared, going out there, having your bottles of water, having a chair if you need, having your mask, just going out there and being prepared to be out there for however long you need to be out there so that you can effectuate your vote. And that, we will have attorneys throughout the country in various counties making sure that there are no shenanigans occurring in order to deter and prevent us from voting, on November 3rd. So, we're doing our part to make sure that we fight suppression and that our votes are counted and our voices are heard.
So I want to go to something real quick that I read about 3 weeks ago in terms of COVID, that some believe that COVID exists, really don't exist, but it was something put in place to rig the current election, right? Because people don't want to go, they don't want to vote. The mail-in ballots were a way also to suppress. And COVID, it serves as a pandemic, but also a suppression record. Thank you.
I'm with you, girl. I'm with you.
But I don't necessarily know, as a healthcare professional, I'm kind of torn. But in your line of work, what are you guys seeing?
Go ahead, Cialis.
So I don't like the word COVID survival. I back in June I had COVID. I don't wish that on my worst day. I told people I don't wish that on Donald Trump.
Hey, I'm with you, Cialis. I was right there with you, brother.
Yeah. So, I think it's a myth to distract people? No. Do I think that it's been handled incorrectly and it's been politicized? But it's actually the reality of how it's been handled. Yes, it is being handled incorrectly. On December 31st, when they pulled the president out from his New Year's Eve party and told him about this, and he took it for a joke. That's the moment right there, which America needs to know. America needs to know that, hey, they did tell him, hey, it's a pandemic, and he didn't take it seriously. And then that's what makes it has all these myths around it. People have all these different ways of thinking, but I don't think it's something that, where folks are, where it's a myth. It's an election myth. I hear people saying, oh, well, there's always a virus around an election. That is so true, though. That's the facts. There's always a virus around election. However, though, it's the way we handle during a pandemic, or it's the way we handle those viruses. It's what makes it political, and then what makes the situation look so iffy. So I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you have to think about all of these people that are that have died from this virus. Right now, I was just telling somebody earlier that, if I ever had a moment the last 4 days where I just was second guessing what I do, God found an interesting way to remind me, because my grandma was diagnosed with COVID and now she got pneumonia, now she's in the hospital. So I don't think it's a myth. I don't think it's fake. I think it is what it is. And I think what we have to do is just make sure that, because of how it's being handled, that we get out and we vote responsible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'll
go
just
ahead.
jump in quickly. I'm gonna tell you, it's not a myth. I mean, when you could barely breathe and can't utter two words without coughing, incessantly, it's not a myth. It's very real. And please be safe out there, you all, because I had me a couple scary nights, like whoa, and so fortunately, I was able to pull through, but it's for real and it's different. It was weird, and I had to isolate myself and stay in a hotel for 2 to 2.5 weeks, and watching CNN and Cuomo when you don't have it is much different than watching Cuomo when you do have it, and you see the people who are dying. It's like whoa, I mean, it's for real. Now here's the spin. The
Mm,
spin, I think, is what you're talking about.
mm-hmm.
I think that America, and hopefully our youngsters, understand narratives. Narratives are taking a set of facts and trying to mold them and package them in a way to create a false a falsity,
Right.
and in order to achieve a self-centered, self-serving objective. Okay. And so, yeah, what they've done now is, with COVID, is what you're probably hearing is a spin in order to prevent and deter people from voting. They're just using it. They use whatever they can, to ignite and mobilize their base, and to suppress and deter their opponent. And so, but the interesting and the Jedi mind tricks is just creating Donald Trump. I mean, he's a trip, because the stuff he says is just mind-boggling, and it's so stupid. I can't put it any other way. But the narratives, COVID is just, it's magically going to dissipate and everything is just going to magically go away. And he says it was so convincing and with starry eyes.
Man, he was just there you go.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So him and his whole family end up getting it. But creating a narrative that he wanted people to believe, in order to show that he's just this great professor of life and life's beings, when everything, the dude's a con artist. He's just a con
Mm,
artist. He's been a con artist. He is con artists. Got him where he is, and he's a con artist. So so it's definitely true. And for all of you who don't think it's true, it is true, but it is being used in order to deter. So, but we need you out there, and we also need you to be safe. So just make sure you take all the precautions necessary in order to keep yourself safe while you go out and vote.
that's good. So, and that's why I really wanted to talk about that, because as a healthcare professional, you hear and I get questions: should I go vote? Doc, what do you think? And as a healthcare professional, I'm saying be safe. Wear your mask, wear gloves, have your hand sanitizer, social distance, do all those things. But then when I'm speaking to my geriatric population that's concerned, and they still have that mindset, and they refer to syphilis, they refer to the Tuskegee uh, whole ordeal. Convincing them to still go vote is something that I try to do. But I think I wanted you to talk about it because not only the geriatric population, but millennials too are feeling like they shouldn't vote because of of COVID. So I'm glad you said that. Bishop, I know you seem like you have something.
And I want to say
Okay.
something else too, since you brought it up, since you said those words, those millenniums and those different groups. So then you have these woke folks, right? That they're so woke to where they're now encouraging people to vote for a certain population. You can do what you want because I do the same thing, right? But if we're gonna do it, I think my challenge is if you're gonna encourage people to vote for the guy that's in the White House now, and because you're seeing some stuff that somebody said years ago, or the last president didn't do anything, I always tell people, and I hear it a lot, um, you know, you can't say that somebody didn't do anything because you don't understand how government works. The president, one, does not have that much power. He is in the executive branch. He is not in the legislative branch. He doesn't have that much power. The reason Obama couldn't get much done is because he had a Republican House and a Republican Senate. The things he could get done, he tried to. Donald Trump is getting some things done. This same HBCU plan that Donald Trump is around here talking. If you go back and look at the bill, there's 3 bills that was placed by Obama. All 3 of them were shut down. Never made it to committee. So people, I keep hearing, oh, this hasn't been done. That you got to understand how government works. And most of the stuff that the president do, you won't see until like 5 to 10 years, and they'll be gone. It's these local elections that affect your everyday life, and that's where people need to vote. And that's when we typically don't vote. And I don't hear the woke folks or anybody really say anything about that. But I just want to say that because I hear it a lot and I've been seeing it a lot. And I think people misconstrue. There are 3 branches of government, and we need to understand what those 3 branches do, and what power they actually have.
You want to know what's interesting, Ciatis, about that? And we've got like 7 minutes, so I want to conclude. First of all, you two guys have been probably some of the most informative. I had to text, and I'll just tell it. I had to text Marwan. Marwan has become one of my friends. He's a friend. Yeah, we got a relationship doing some stuff, but he's my friend. And I had to text him and said, dude, you are killing me tonight. And I did that because I think Ciatis and Marwan, you two are what's necessary to transform us as a people politically. I think our mistake is we're not. I mean, like, good example. I'm going to repost this and reshare this because I think everybody needed to hear your opening, comments, because I think in a very real way, forcing people to have to think bigger. And then, Ciatis is a political guru. No doubt about it. Don't let his age fool you. He's probably going to always look like he's 15 when he's 60. I mean, it's just the way he's going to look. The boy can't grow hair on his face. That ain't going to happen. So he's going to always look like he's 16. But the fact that most of us didn't take civic class and we no longer teach civics, meaning that we're growing up not understanding. So when people say Obama didn't do anything, they don't understand. The dude was dealing, he could have gotten a justice through, but the Senate made sure that, and they did it to humiliate him. They did not do it with the integrity. They wanted to pimp slap him as a president of the United States. That's pretty much what they tried. That's what McConnell wanted to be able to say. I made this colored black man who's supposed to be the president look impotent. Sharice, that was their only goal. The fact that, I don't know, was it Cruz or somebody had the audacity doing this dude's State of the Union to stand up and holler out in the middle of his State of the Union address. So you're right. You know, so as we get ready to close, we got 5 minutes. I took up 3. Sorry about that. Marwan, Cialis, and then we'll end with our host, who I really want to say thank you to her tonight, because she gave me the freedom to just kind of because this is important to me. And she gave me the freedom. She was so nice. Next week is all on you. Post-election is all on you. I'm just going to be the pretty face next week. Marwan Porter, Cialis, what is your final word? You are the final word before election 2020. What's your final word to us tonight?
So my final word is this. Social media, the fact that we're all having a conversation tonight at our homes and we could hang out and talk and laugh is extremely, extremely effective and beneficial, and we got to use it. Okay. And so with that, because it's a platform that allows us to educate one another, and there are so many different things that you can listen to. So here's my final words. Y'all may want to write this down, listeners. Malcolm X, the bullet or the ballot. YouTube it. Malcolm X, the bullet or the ballot. And Malcolm describes a lot within that speech that he gives in terms of the Black condition, and where we are and why we're here and what we need to do in order to break through. And it's crazy, we've lost so many of our great ones. We've lost them, and it's really unfortunate because it's just a huge blow. But their message is still here. So it's important. I want everyone to listen to The Bullet or the Ballot by Malcolm X and just learn. You don't have to agree with everything he says, but it's empowering. It's empowering from the experiences that we are subjected to, and how we will get ourselves out of the predicament that we find ourselves in.
Good stuff. That's great stuff. Cialis, what's your final word to us? We got 1 minute and 82 seconds.
Yeah, so I'll say someone died so we can have the right to vote. And today we're in a pandemic and folks are still dying so that way we can vote. And it's up to us to make sure that we vote so that way while they died, their legacy lives on.
Sharice, the most amazing co-host in the world, unless it's my wife. What's up? What's your final word tonight?
I think that this has really been informative. I think that Attorney Porter really hit the nail on the head when he opened up with what he was talking about, and when we went into voter suppression. A lot has happened over the past couple of weeks where racism has really become very prevalent, with the polls being open, blatant disrespect, destroying the property, people actually going to the polls, trying to scare people away. I think that we got to be courageous in this season. We have to stand flat-footed in what we believe, and we cannot allow the bully that's in office right now and the bullies that run with this bully to keep us from doing what we know is right. Cialis said it best. They died for us. We have a right. We have a voice, and if you don't execute your right, if you stand for nothing, what are you doing? Why are you here? We have to make a change, and it's gonna start with this election. Obama set the tone when he was in office. as they said, he tried to put a lot of things in place. He set a foundation, and there's a president that walked with Obama that has some of that knowledge and hopefully can push a lot of those initiatives through. So, do your research. Don't be afraid. Vote. Let your voice be heard, and then let's come back next Wednesday and see what happens.
Listen, thank you guys for giving us an amazing night. We are better because we get a chance to hear this kind of information. Everybody, thank you all for watching tonight. Listen, go out and vote, but also share this. Share this. Let's make sure others get this information. Share this because tonight, for all of our fun-loving nightcaps, tonight is empowering and transformational. And we had three brilliant people of color, three brilliant people, an amazing attorney that is active in this in not just Jacksonville, but around the country. Marwan Porter is serious and he is committed. And if you're looking for someone who can walk with you through a difficult time legally, he's the man. And Ciatis Jackson is going to become one of the country's most influential political consultants. And he's someone who every time I have political question, I call Ciatis and I say, Ciatis, I need this. And he always seems to give me what I need. And Sharice, you're the best. Thank you for letting me be a host tonight, right, with you, because I was all in tonight. I saw my boys on. I was ready to talk. So you guys be blessed. Thank you again, Amanda, and thank you, Ray. And we'll see you guys next Wednesday because every Wednesday at 9:30 we show up. Whether one shows up or 100, we're gonna show up until we go syndicate it. And then we go syndicate it. My attorney, Marwan Porter, is going to negotiate our deal.
Gotcha.
See, he's my attorney in more ways than he understands. All right, Sharice, let's do our thing. All right, see y'all later. Take care. Go vote.
Good night.